In a world where fantasy football has taken over the land, two unlikely heroes will arise. They call themselves the Fantasy Football Apocalypse. But who are they?
Trent and Jeremy. Trent and Jeremy. Trent and Jeremy. Trent and Jeremy. Trent and Jeremy, yes, they are the boys. When it comes to fantasy advice, they got the noise. One's a little loud, and he's far from cautious. His voice alone will turn your stomach nauseous. MC number 2, well, it's just not that simple. Some would even question that he's borderline mental. These two combined will try to be funny, but their main goal is to try to make you money.
Oh, yes! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Christmas Eve edition of the Fantasy Football Apocalypse. I am Trent Scott, joined by Jeremy Scott.
Merry Christmas, everyone! God bless us, everyone. Hey, I watched A Christmas Carol the other day, Trent, the one with Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters, actually.
It's pretty good. You know what I'd like to see that? I'd like to see it in the IMAX, Omni downtown. That's an extremely underrated theater.
Yeah, that movie was it was released in 3D, so I'm sure it would look really cool on IMAX 3D.
Yeah. And in other movie news, now that we're talking about it, I'm going to see Star Wars tomorrow. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it yet, actually, no.
I've heard from everybody that it's incredible.
Yeah, I know my brother saw it, and he thought it was really good.
Yeah. Well, we're doing our Christmas episode. Allergies are coming on full force with this 80-degree weather in December in Texas for all of our national listeners. Trent, interesting week last week?
Very interesting week because, Jeremy, you set 2 incredible records on our show last week. You want to talk about it?
Let's talk about the bad one first, and then let's talk about the good one.
So, Jeremy, you managed to pick the worst player in the history of our show last week, as for the first time, one of us went negative, as Danny Amendola had -1 point.
Are you sure that's a first?
That is absolutely a first. We've had zeros, we have never had negative.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. But he got injured, so come on now.
I'm just saying, he went negative.
Respect. Hey, it is a fact. I have the worst record. Now, too bad we didn't pick defenses, because you would have picked Philadelphia that one week, and they got -6.
That was not a good week, no.
Oh, so get this. One of my buddies literally made... Actually, was that this last week? Where the Eagles gave up that many points?
I don't remember what week that was.
In his league, for whatever reason, the Eagles did so bad, and I want to say it was this last week, maybe it was the week before, but they did so bad that they got like -5 or -6, and he ended up making the playoffs, and he was losing with, they had a defense to play left. like I get that that's just short of like impossible happening, but I mean you can't. Like you have to be smarter than that. You can't afford any risk in the playoffs and championship. Like you have to bench them because there's no point to play them. You know?
Yeah, that's what the first round of the playoffs. I was in our league. I was playing my brother, and going into Monday night, I already had like a 2-point lead or something. He was out of players, and I had the Giants defense. They were playing on Monday night that week, and I had originally benched them, and I was going to keep them benched and just take the guaranteed win, but I felt bad because it was my brother, so I went ahead and put him back in the lineup. Of course, I still won. But yeah, if it had literally been anyone other than my brother, that defense would have stayed on the bench.
And he means that because they're in collusion every year, not because of he has a soul. But that's besides the point. We'll bring that up in a court of law. Trent, let's get on with the show, my friend. You got honors, Trent won, so
wait.
8.
We talked about your bad record. We didn't talk about your good record, Jeremy.
Oh, look at me just being so humble. I'll mention it. David Johnson, the pick of the show. He set an all-time record in points scored, and David Johnson is the real deal, my friend. He's 100% looks like the running back in the future of Arizona. He looked good. What do you think about him?
I mean, it's hard. It's funny because earlier in the year when Andre Ellington initially got hurt, people really wanted him to get the starting job over Chris Johnson, but Chris Johnson played so well that he didn't really get a shot early, and now that both Ellington and CJ2K are hurt, he's finally getting that opportunity, and he's absolutely thriving.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's finally getting a chance. Even when he played back then, though, I mean, he didn't. I don't know what the deal is with these coaches. It's like a league vendetta that's really started coming out. Like, rookies are just, they don't even if they're good and they can come in and instantly play, if they're not a quarterback, they really don't get given the reins, except, I guess Kelvin Benjamin did in Carolina, but it's more, I guess that's more like a running back thing, but anyway, it's infuriating for fantasy owners alike.
Yeah, but I just think it's funny. You managed to both have the worst pick in show history and the best pick in show history in the same week.
Hey, records are meant to be broken, my friend.
So, all that being said, I did win the week 95-80. Wow,
high scoring.
Yeah, it was pretty high scoring. So that gives me the honors. So to kick things off this week, my quarterback is going to be Jay the Head Case Cutler. This is just a matter of positional scarcity. There are not many quarterbacks to go around, and Jeremy had already picked his quarterback, so I had to pick somebody, and Jay Cutler was kind of who was left over at that point. Now, the Bears are playing I had it right in front of me, where to go, the Buccaneers, who aren't that great. They have some good players, certainly, but they're not necessarily a great defense. So, even though it was a pick out of survival, basically, it's not a terrible pick.
No, it's not the end of the world. I mean, Cutler has had Cutler has had a quietly, almost consistent, I would even say, season. He's done pretty well. I mean, he's had 14 or more, or 10 or more in every game except one, basically the last 10 weeks. So, I mean, Cutler's not a bad option. Tampa Bay's D sometimes comes to play, but not very often. So I think Cutler at 6,900. I mean, I guess there are cheaper options, but it's pretty thin. I think Cutler's a safe play.
All right, so Jeremy, speaking of safe plays, who's your quarterback this week?
Mr. Safety himself, Alex Smith. Alex is another one of those guys who's just having a surprising season. He's actually had double digits in every game log that I can see back, which is 11. I mean, Mr. Consistent. He's just continuing to do it. Coming off his, not best game. He had 12, but Cleveland's defense is not good. So I think Alex Smith has a good game and puts up 15 points or more.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Smith, you said it was a surprising season. I don't even think it's that surprising. Alex Smith's a good quarterback, and he has been for, several years now. He's done 4 picks this year.
That's because he doesn't throw the ball.
I mean, he's had over 20 attempts every week. 22 attempts anyway. That's his low for the year, is 22. So it's not like he's never throwing it. Plus, he does pick up rushing yards. I mean, every week for since
the rushing
week
yards
8,
are huge.
He's had at least 10 rushing yards. In fact, every game except for one this year, he's had at least 10 rushing yards. So that's a bonus point or more every week. So I like Alex Smith a lot. He's not a guy that's going to cost you any games, whether it's real football or fantasy.
Yeah, that's true. In rushing yards, I mean, as a quarterback, in my opinion, it's just free points because, I mean, even Brady will pick up a 10-yard run every now and then. It's just having those, like Cam Newton, for example. He is killing everybody. He's actually doing it a lot through the air, but yeah, I mean, people like Bortles this last week. He had 40 yards rushing and a freaking touchdown, Makes a huge difference. So, anyway, moving on, Trent. Give us your running back pick of the week.
My running back pick of the week from the beloved New England Patriots, James White, a guy that has been really good as of late. Basically, ever since Dion Lewis got injured, he has stepped up and thrived. I picked him last week. He had a 20-point game. I don't know that he goes quite that high this week, but I definitely see him reaching the double digits. New England is playing the Jets. It should be a fairly close game, actually, because that game's in New York. So I think White will be involved throughout the entire day. So give me James White.
Yeah, like I said last week, I'm a big James White fan. He really impressed me. What's interesting, too, is at halftime, I think he had like 3 points, and then he finished with 20. So, he can do it in a short amount of time. So I do like James White again this week, especially because Brandon Bolden didn't do jack crap last week. So I think James White is going to be featured even more.
Yeah, that freaking fullback led the team in rushing. What was his name? Like Joseph Isofeta or something? Like, who is this guy?
Yeah, that Bolden and that backfield is playing Russian roulette just like Seattle's backfield right now. Stay away from it unless you got James White.
All right, so Jeremy, who's going to be your running back of the week this week?
Trent, this guy is thoroughly disappointing me this year. But I'm going with Latavius Murray. Got a juicy matchup against the Chargers. Already played him once, ran for 85 yards and a touchdown on 15 carries. Now, it does seem like they are a little bit more committed to the run lately. He's had over 20 carries in 3 of the last 4 games and had 16 against Denver. Now, he only had 27 yards rushing, but that's Denver's D. But, he had 21 carries for 78 yards last week, 1 catch for 2 yards. I could see the Raiders getting up pretty big and running, but the Chargers, rush defense is also bad. And he's already gotten 15 against them one time this year, so I think Latavius has another good week against them.
Yeah, I know you in particular had very high hopes for Latavius Murray this year, and he's been good, but he has not been what you had hoped he would be.
Yeah, in my eyes, he's been disappointing because I thought he would be like top 7. He's gonna be a 1,000-yard rusher. I mean, he'll get that tonight, but you know what I mean. I thought he would be way better.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had a 100-yard game since week 8, so it's been almost 2 months since he's had a 100-yard rushing game. His receptions have also slowed down. He's only had 1 catch combined the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Murray's got talent. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's because he hasn't been as good as we'd hoped. That has me a little down on him. But
well, their offensive line is awful.
Yeah.
I think he's a very talented running back, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows, my friend? All right, Trent, give us your second running back.
All right, my second running back, I used him last week. His rushing numbers weren't great, but he made up for it in the passing game. Shoelace Denard Robinson.
Yes.
TJ Yeldon is still in a boot and has not practiced all week. I would be stunned if he wound up playing. So Denard Robinson should be the literal every down back again this week. He did not miss a snap last week. The Jaguars ran 62 plays on offense. He was on the field for every single one of them.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
So I don't see why that should change this week. Like I said, really had a great game reception-wise last week. 8 catches. So and by the way, they're playing the Falcons, who have a terrible, or excuse me, the Saints. The Saints.
Yeah.
Who actually have an even worse rush defense than the Falcons. They have the worst rush defense, as a matter of fact.
Unbelievable.
So I like Shoelace.
I love him. As long as he plays, just monitor his foot. He's got the sprained ankle issue, or a sprained foot, but he said he's playing, so if he plays, he has a juicy matchup. And Denard Robinson, look at this. He's had 14 carries the last 2 weeks combined and 9 catches. So he's a legitimate threat out of the backfield, and I think he gets in the end zone this week.
Well, I hope you are right.
I do too, because I'm starting him in the championship more than likely.
I'm starting him in a third-place game, so...
hey, so CBS, I'm in a CBS league, and they do this update every year, or every week. It's actually pretty awesome. And they send it out and just it's a little satire and talk about every matchup's performance. CBS, a non-biased opinion, has said I am the best coach in the league by far. I thought that was pretty cool. Let me just brag on myself a little bit, Trent.
That's funny.
All right, moving on. I'm going with a very interesting pick, actually. I'm kind of high on him, just seeing the production that Sean Payton has given him. Tim Hightower is my pick. 28 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown and a catch for 10 yards. Last week he had 13 for 54, 3 catches for 31 yards. Now, something that is kind of scaring me is I'm not sure if Breeze is going to play. Now, due to the other picks and the research I've seen, I'm not. I still am confident on starting Hightower, but it would be a pretty significant downside if Breeze did not play. And honestly, odds are he probably won't play. But I'm still going to go with Hightower because if they're going to, they're playing Jacksonville, and I guess Jacksonville can put up points, but I'm trusting the gut.
Yeah. Tim Hightower was the guy I literally didn't even know was still in the league 3 weeks ago.
It's because I don't think he was.
I'm very skeptical of Tim Hightower, especially like you said, if Drew Brees doesn't play, I can't back this pick. It's just way too many red flags for me. This guy is old. He's had serious injuries, and he might not have his quarterback. I don't like it.
Oh, that hurts to hear, Trent.
Bah humbug.
A little Christmas fantasy Scrooge. All right, Trent, moving on. Who is your wide receiver pick of the week?
Now, it's interesting because you're concerned about Tim Hightower not having Drew Brees. I'm taking an even bigger roll of the dice because I'm taking Brandon Cooks, who might not have Drew Brees.
Yeah, I guess that would be a wash.
The thing is, Brandon Cooks absolutely lit it up last week. 28 points. I believe he had at least one touchdown. It might have been 2.
He still sucks.
He had 13 targets, 10 receptions. He's quietly pretty good. Again, we've talked about this before. Everyone thought he was going to be a top 10 wide receiver. He's not that. But he is a solid every week fantasy player at this point. And whether it's Luke McCown or Drew Brees, he should be the number one target in that offense. So I like Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, I don't like Cooks, even if Brees plays. I just don't. The matchup is not super great, but Cooks is all year long it's been the same thing. Just mediocrity, good game. Bad game, mediocrity, good game. It's just hard to trust him.
All right, well, Jeremy, who are you trusting more than Brandon Cooks?
Mr. Sure Hands himself, Jarvis Landry. The guy has had double-digit catches at least 3 times this year. Coming off an 8-reception, 54-yard game. Vontae Davis is not much of a slot receiver coverer, so I don't think he's going to be guarding Jarvis Landry. But I like Landry just because he continues to get the production. He's got it all year long. So, and I can see him getting in the end zone this week. I like Jarvis Landry a lot this week. He's had freaking 19 catches 19, 32. He's had 34 catches in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry, he's your boy. I don't blame you for picking him. He's basically the black Julian Edelman, I believe you've called him.
He's better than Edelman.
That's not true.
He has Tannehill throwing him the ball.
Okay, that might be true.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about Landry is he never scores any touchdowns. He only has 4 touchdowns this year, and he only had 5 last year. But as long as he gets catches, that can make up for it. Now, last week he didn't even do that. Last week he only had 2 catches and was awful.
Last week he had 8 catches for 54 yards.
I'm sorry, I misread that. What was...
You're looking 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, as long as he gets catches, he's fine. Just don't count on him to score touchdowns, because you'll be disappointed if you do.
Yeah, agreed. But luckily, full point PPR is what we're after, even though FanDuel's not. But DraftKings is. But I will defend Jarvis Landry to the depths.
All right. That's
Now,
fine.
switching over, Trent, give us your final wide receiver pick.
All right, my second wide receiver. I don't know why he's still available, to be perfectly honest.
I don't either.
Jeremy Maclin. I mean, this guy, he's great. I mean,
He is.
like everyone thought it's just Andy Reid's system. Andy Reid leaves. He was good for Chip Kelly. And then everyone said, well, it's just the Eagles system. Well, he leaves in Philly, and he's still good. He'll cross the 1,000-yard mark and the 80-catch mark both this week. In fact, might happen on the same play because he has 79 catches for 985. So in the first quarter, he should pass both of those thresholds. He's coming off another good game, 7 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. So I don't see why he slows down. You picked his quarterback. I'm picking the wide receiver.
Well, talk about a bunch of catches. He has 31 catches over the last 4 weeks. So Macklin's one that I would suggest picking as well. He's a great cheap option.
All right, so Jeremy, then who's going to be your second wide receiver?
I'm going to pick somebody who has not been selected on the show this year. Deshaun Jackson. Now, I've had this guy on my bench in my championship league, and I haven't paid much attention to him because I've been starting Julio and Cobb. In hindsight, I should have been starting Julio and Deshaun Jackson. He's, with the exception of one of those games in there, he's got 4 touchdowns in the last 5 games. Only one of those games was bad, where he had 2 catches for 43 yards. But, I mean, dare I say it, Kirk Cousins is legit. He's also proven that he can gunsling the ball. He's thrown for, a bunch of touchdowns in the last few weeks. Now, the most enticing part of picking Deshaun Jackson is Philadelphia's secondary is just awful. It is so bad. Everyone just picks it apart. I mean, just completely awful. And I think Deshaun Jackson is a huge beneficiary of that this week.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins has really surprised just about everybody this year. Because people don't even remember this. He barely won the starting job from Colt McCoy in the preseason. Their numbers were very similar, and Jay Gruden had a hard time deciding which one was going to be his quarterback. He went with Cousins, and it has paid off because Cousins has really developed this year into a reliable starting quarterback.
Dude,
Deshaun,
how about... go ahead, finish.
I was going to say, and Deshaun Jackson is his top target. So I like Deshaun Jackson.
Listen to this stat line. 319 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 carries for 11 yards and a rushing touchdown. He had 5 touchdowns last week, dude.
Yeah, he was one of 3 quarterbacks that did that, along with Teddy Bridgewater and Cam Newton.
Crazy. Madness. Absolute madness, my friend. All right, Trent, moving on. Let's go to tight ends. Did you even pick a tight end? I don't even remember who you picked.
I did because my tight end coming off 2 monster games. Richard Rodgers, the last 2 weeks, 1 catch for 7 yards and 1 catch for 3 yards. But he is due.
He is due indeed.
They're playing the Cardinals. It should be a close game. Now, I know the Cardinals have a good defense, but it should be a close game throughout. So, and let's be honest, if one team is getting blown out and being forced to throw the ball in the second half, it's going to be the Packers in that scenario.
Yeah.
So either way, I think Rodgers approaches 35, 40 attempts this week, and some of those have to go Richard Rodgers' way, right?
They should, theoretically. But for some reason, what it is they leave Devontae Adams wide open because he sucks so bad. So Devontae Adams gets all the targets and production, but he just absolutely sucks.
I don't know if you can say he gets all the targets in production. He gets all the targets.
Yeah,
I don't know about production.
Not production, not even close. So I mean that's an interesting pick, but again, it's a tight end crapshoot. Actually, my pick isn't much of a crapshoot anymore.
Yeah, he is not because I used him last week. So Jeremy, who's your tight end?
Benjamin Watson. We've picked him, I'm pretty sure, the last 4 or 5 weeks in a row. I did it the 2 before that, and then Trent did it that last week, and I'm going to do it again. He's one of Breeze's favorite targets. He gets at least 7 points a game. He's definitely a viable option, and he also has a juicy matchup this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are not good against tight ends. So I think that'll be a high-scoring one. Even if Luke McCown plays, I think Benjamin Watson will benefit. He's questionable, but I think he's still going to be. I think he's still going to play and be fine.
Yeah, Watson had 16 points last week. One of my better tight ends I've picked all year, actually.
It's probably the best.
Yeah, I could actually. Scott Chandler had 16 also for me a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, against the Eagles.
Yeah, when Gronk was out. But yeah. Anyway, to me, this is a bit more dependent on whether Breeze plays than Brandon Cooks, because I don't know. I don't trust Luke McCown trying to throw it to Benjamin Watson. For some reason, I feel better about Brandon Cooks because Cooks has breakaway speed, So I feel like Cooks can create more opportunities for himself than Benjamin Watson can. So I think if Breeze plays, though, he should be fine.
He could. My thoughts is just they're gonna focus on that in game plan. It's like, I mean, if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let Luke McCown throw the ball downfield, and I'm gonna game plan for these bullcrap Sean Payton screen passes. But I'm just a guy who plays Madden. So, Trent, that about wraps it up, my friend. So, 8, you're up 8. You're 8-7, right?
No, 7-1. The tie. Remember the
that's
tie?
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, what a big week, dude.
For sure.
What a big week. But Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Hope everything goes good with your families. Screw Happy Holidays. Merry Christmas. We are Christmas advocates.
We just lost all of our Jewish fans.
Sorry, guys. Now, Trent, any parting words before I give my last piece of advice?
No, I don't have anything to go out on this week.
Don't overthink the championship. I got a friend texting me, a few friends texting me, overthinking things, and it's not worth it. Just play with it, go with your gut. Odds are, odds are you're going to be right, and it could happen where you could have made the right call, but you can't. It's not worth the disappointment of, man, if I would have just left him in, he did what I thought he would, and I made a mistake. Because you never know when you're going to get back to the championship.
Yeah, that's solid advice. The only scenario I could see where something like that could be in play right now is if you're an Odell Beckham owner and you don't know what to do.
Oh, he won't play.
Well, no, yeah, it's already confirmed he won't play. But I'm saying overthinking who you should make his replacement.
Well, no, I mean, sure. That in that case, you have to start. What I mean is somebody like I got asked, would you bench Julio Jones against the Carolina Panthers this week?
Okay, yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Don't do that. I mean, I'm even struggling with starting Deshaun Jackson over Randall Cobb in the league, but I mean, I have to go with the numbers and Cobb has been more of a disappointment to me than Latavius Murray has.
Wow.
I thought Cobb was going to be big time, man, but I guess Jordy Nelson makes that big of a difference.
Yeah, apparently so. That Packers offense just isn't as good this year.
No. This is back to like Aaron Rodgers when he had to do everything by himself. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to wrap it up, call it a show. We appreciate you guys, and we'll be back next week.